That's important, but I don't want to record passwords and people's emails and things like that. So that's why we didn't record a lot tonight. That makes sense? Okay, so let me go to the Girls Who Code website, the HQ. Okay, so on the left side, you should see pop up the announcement, right? You'll see that each week. I just welcome everybody. On the left side, it should say the times we're here, how many students are enrolled right now. If you're not in there right now, you will be. And underneath here, on the left, it should have activity sets is what we're going to go to starting next week. And you'll notice a whole bunch of activity sets. We've got Fashion and Scratch, which combine your curiosity about fashion and computer science to learn fundamental computer science concepts, and a block-based language. Basically, it's drag and drop blocks. It's a lot of fun. I teach it all the time in the Hour of Code every month. Students love it. All ages, 5 and up, go to that Hour of Code. Digital art and con, storytelling, and Codesters, music and ear sketch, games and Quorum, Android development and Thunkable. You might not have heard of Thunkable. It's pretty cool online learning and app creation tool. And they also have an iOS development in Thunkable as well. Core 4 unplugged activities, free activities to learn computer science. And unplugged basically means off the grid, off the screen. You're doing it off of any type of device. Designing a chat bot in IBM. And then there's some extended ones you can do on your own. We won't be using most of these, but you can do them on your own. The one I already showed you earlier tonight, the solo learn, that will be like an extended one. These are actually extended as well, meaning you can learn on your own time about logic gates to create simple circuits that mirror real-life systems, object-oriented language in Khan Academy, web development, which we have some pretty cool web developers here, it sounds like already. Databases in Khan Academy, functioning program and WeScheme, algorithms, and then CS Impact. CS Impact we'll be actually talking about next week with our brainstorming. I'll bring this up real quick. Here's some CS type projects we can do for the community-based stuff. We can create a project totally in Scratch if we want to, and have people use, which anybody with a web browser can access Scratch. Website using Jimbo, which is a really cool tool to use to create a website. Exploring physical computing with Makey. Creating a mobile app with Thunkable. Creating web pages with GitHub. Glitch. Virtual spaces with CoSpaces. And then alternative resources for your CS Impact project. I'll click on that one. There's alternative ones as well. They give quite a few of them in here. Raspberry Pi, Chabronics, Love the Code Board, Arduino robots, and block apps using JavaScript. So activity sets we'll be camping at each Wednesday after our introduction, after our Women in Code or Women in Technology, and the slideshow will go right into coding. After that, we'll be working on learning first, because we're just going to decide next week kind of what the project is, and you'll start learning coding basically starting next week. And we'll start with Fashion and Scratch, which is you can actually, between now and next Wednesday, if you want to, go into Core 4. There's nothing stopping you from doing it when you get home, by the way. You don't have to just do what we're doing in here and then don't do it till next week. You can do it at home as well. This one basically goes through 5 core setups from 1 to 5 on learning Scratch. It's Fashion, Introduction to Scratch, showing loops, conditions, variables, and then finally functions. And I'll just click on the first one, the introduction, which goes over, basically tells you how long it's going to take, which we don't have time to even start tonight. 1 hour is what it says here. So you won't more than likely finish something like next week. We'll try to get things. We start here at 4, maybe start coding be nice after we choose our CS project. Maybe start your coding 4:45, 5 o'clock next week, maybe, hopefully. And we'll start this learning in Scratch. It says it's ease of facilitation is medium. It's actually pretty easy. Scratch is really easy to learn and to also teach as well. And Scratch is basically an online programming language, totally online, developed by MIT, which Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is a pretty cutting-edge college, right? That creates a lot of cool technology. And they offered at no cost. It started out developed for kindergartners, okay? Scratch was started with a little guy on the screen to move him around, a little character on the screen to move around. And then it advanced to what we have today, which is full-fledged web applications. And it's advanced even from that to other types of drag and drop applications to where you can literally create with drag and drop applications now a fully fledged Android app or iOS app and publish it to the App Store. So that's pretty cool. And so you'll learn in the first lesson anyway, setting up your Scratch account, which you can do between now and Wednesday if you'd like to, next Wednesday if you'd like to. You'll do a little tutorial on how Scratch works. You'll watch that. And then we'll go right into things like adding characters to your canvas, making your sprite characters change colors, more about sprites, adding animation, music, all the cool stuff you want to do when you're creating an app, right? And so what's cool about these, if you notice on my screen and on yours both, there's a Learn It area that goes over the actual learning stuff, and then a Build It area where you actually do stuff now. After you've learned Scratch 1, you start building something. So it tells you how to create your very first project and what to do that project. Then CS, your impact to your CS project. Every week we'll talk about, okay, how does this impact our CS project? What are some things we can do with what we're learning in Scratch this week? We'll talk about that. What are some things we can do in our program? And we'll start jotting those things down. Because more than likely this will take a few weeks to get through all the core curriculum to where it'll take us a while to where we'll be able to start building our computer science project. All right. So again, when you go home and you log in later, between now and next week, the activity sets, I'd recommend going to the first one, which is a Fashion and Scratch. That's what we'll be starting with next week. Questions on that? Okay. Next, I want to go to, minimize this a little bit here. So go back to, if you wouldn't mind, go back to the Canvas page that we use for our course. And I'm going to the bottom of that and hit Next. So we did the sign up activity. We did that for Girls Who Code. Check that off. We talked about CS activities already for the Impact Project. We got ideas on the board. Great job on that. I got pictures of everything, by the way. I'll post. We collaborated on that. Next, exit ticket. Everybody has to fill this out. So if you'll go to the exit ticket on Module 1, it has 3 questions. What did you accomplish today? What's the first thing you will do next week? We already talked about that, right? Which is what? It's up on the board. What are we going to do next week? Yeah, we'll decide on the project next week. So we come in, thank you. And then what's something you are currently stuck on or you'd like better explained that we've went over so far tonight? Put that in there as well. If you're like, everything's great, just put great, no questions. But if you do have a question, put it in there so we can help answer those questions between now and next week. So take a few minutes to do the exit ticket. Once you finish the exit ticket, then you'll click Next. And we're going to go right into the stand up, which is basically where you get together, you get to know each other's names better, you get to ask each other some questions about what they've done, what they're doing right now, what school they go to, stuff like that. And you've not really completed anything so far, but every week we're going to have this stand up to where we go over what you learned in coding today, what you need more help on, show up what you completed. You're really not going to be able to answer those today, but each week we will have a stand-up session. So we'll use a stand-up session today for just get to know each other a little bit better. After you go to the stand-up session, we'll jump right into, in fact, we'll go right into the chill time. In fact, let's do this. I'm going to call it audible administrative thing today. We're going to combine the stand-up and chill time into one. Sound good? So after you get through filling out the exit ticket, I want you to stand up, get to talk to 2 or 3 people around you. I want nobody to be by yourself, so you will need to stand up. We have about 15 minutes left between now and 6 o'clock, and I want you to kind of get to know one another for the next 15 minutes after you do the exit ticket. If you have questions about anything we've went over tonight, come up and see me or one of our helpers or facilitators. We'll be more glad to help you. Sound good? Yeah, and right. Introduce yourself like you did earlier with the game that we did, the icebreaker game, which you guys did great at once you got into it, right? They did really good. And so don't be shy. Remember the club contract. Work hard, be brave, be curious, and be kind. So part of I know it's kind of brave to maybe stand up if you're not used to that and to get to know one another. So after you've submitted that exit ticket, chill time, stand up, hang out, talk about things, write in your journal that I've given you, chat with other people around you, even adults that are in the room. We like to talk to you sometime. All right?